The swing states in the U.S. presidential election change over time. Today, we think of New York as one of the most solid Democrat states. In the 1888 election, New York was one of, if not the most, important swing state. Our swing states are currently undergoing a big change. In this election, the important battlegrounds were Wisconsin, Michigan, Maine and Nebraska's 2nd congressional districts, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Florida, Georgia, and Arizona. There was also a second tier of swing states that we could pretty confidently predict. We could predict that Iowa, Ohio, and Texas would go to Trump. We could also predict that Minnesota, Nevada, New Hampshire, and Maine would all go to Biden. All of those predictions came true, but these are states that have a possibility of switching, but it is unlikely. If we go back to the 1996 presidential election, the map looks entirely different from what we have now. Bill Clinton, the Democrat, won in Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky, and West Virginia. Meanwhile, Bob Dole, the Republican, won in Virginia and Colorado. Nowadays, these are all states that the opposing party doesn't even spend time or money in. Clinton winning the 1996 election by this much was largely due to two factors. Number one, Ross Perot ran as the third party. This isn't very relevant to the topic of the video, but Perot mostly took away votes from Dole rather than Clinton. Number two, this was the last time that we saw the effects of the party shift in a presidential election. Democrats used to be very strong in the Sun Belt states in the South, and Republicans were leading in the northern Rust Belt states. Clinton was the last Democratic candidate to hold at least some of the edge that Democrats had in the South by getting Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Florida, and Tennessee's electoral votes. He did this while simultaneously winning the Rust Belt states of Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. If we go to the next election in 2000, we see that Democrat Al Gore loses the southern states of Nevada, Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri, Tennessee, Arizona, and Florida, depending on how you look at it. In the 2004 election, John Kerry did even worse in the Sun Belt states by losing New Mexico. He did this while increasing Democrats' strength in the Northeast and Rust Belt by winning New Hampshire, unlike Gore. A new electoral map period happened during the next three elections. The battlegrounds were perceived to be Nevada, Pennsylvania, Florida, Ohio, Iowa, North Carolina, Virginia, Colorado, and New Hampshire. Some of these came and went throughout the coming decade. Missouri quickly became less of a swing state when Obama lost it by 0.13% in 2008. Virginia, Colorado, and New Hampshire became less realistic for Republicans to win. Obama also won Indiana in 2008. Despite this happening, it is still solidly in Republican hands in today's elections. These notions about what was and wasn't a swing state changed in 2016. Wisconsin and Michigan went to Trump by very narrow margins. This was after Obama won both of them with well over 50% in 2012. The battlegrounds of Ohio and Iowa both went to Trump by large margins, after being swing states that went to Obama in the two previous elections. In the last two elections, we're seeing Republican leads in the Sun Belt states shrink, and Democrat leads in the Rust Belt states shrink. I think that the battlegrounds are shifting very quickly. The 2024 election will have very different swing states, probably something like this map. That is 4 years away, though, and it could be vastly different. Virginia used to be a solid Republican state, but in a few election cycles it became a solid Democrat state. I believe that this is currently happening to Arizona and Georgia, and will begin to happen to Texas within the decade. I also believe that this will happen, but in favor of Republicans, in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania within the decade, with Minnesota possibly later on. Those are just my predictions, though, and none of this is an exact science. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Make sure to like it if you liked it, and dislike it if you did not like it. Goodbye.